Tips with Toni. I'm Toni Marinucci and I'm a registered dietitian. Today we're back in my mom's kitchen where I learned how to cook and I learned what's most important about cooking, which is food safety, how to handle and store your food properly. Today's show is going to be about how you cook your food, how you thaw your food, how you store your food, and at the end we're going to make a healthy version of a turkey burger. I have a special guest today. His name's Max Bovin. If you listen to me on the radio show, in the radio station WVOX, he was on the show with me and we talked about how he's incorporating a healthier lifestyle. He's exercising regularly, he's eating healthier, but one of his barriers is he's not really experienced in the kitchen. He is a college student, so that's not a surprise. Many college kids have that barrier where they might have a dorm room that they're in, they don't have access to a kitchen. So I wanted to make a healthy version of a turkey burger because who doesn't love a turkey burger? And also, it's really easy to do no matter where you are. So today we're going to do that at the end where we're going to make that turkey burger, but right now I wanted to go over some basic food safety concepts. When you're cooking, the first thing you want to do is wash your hands. Before you wash your hands, you want to make sure that you have the soap available, you have your hand-dried towels. Paper towels are actually best. The towels, like the rags, they get wet and they kind of hold that moisture and the bacteria. So using paper towels are best when washing your hands. So once you have the soap and the paper towels, you can go ahead and wash your hands. It's really important to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. If you're having trouble and you're kind of bored, you really want to make sure you get underneath the fingernails, you get even up above your wrist, because by getting above your wrist, you might, if you're working with meat, like we're going to be working with ground meat later, you never know where it's going to kind of splatter. So you really want to make sure when you wash your hands, you get all the way up to here and under the fingernails. If you're getting a little impatient, I tell my little kids that I work with to count to 20 or sing a song like happy birthday. It tends to go a little bit easier that way. Secondly, you really want to make sure you have a clean surface and you want to wash your surface down with something like Windex or soap, and then really make sure that it's nice and clean. The next thing is using the proper storing techniques. So today we're going to be doing a turkey burger with a twist. We're using ground turkey meat. We're going to also put a fried egg on top. So your egg should be kept in the refrigerator in a closed container, kind of separate from just about anything, so that way you don't want to get salmonella. 1 in 6 Americans actually get a foodborne illness every single year. So we want to prevent getting any type of foodborne illness, and that's why food safety is so important. It's really common in things like eggs and chicken, so you want to make sure that's stored properly. Secondly is your ground meats. Your ground meats should be stored at the bottom of the refrigerator. You want to make sure that you keep it in the original container that you bought it in, and it's wrapped in a plastic bag and put on the bottom. If it ever leaks and gets onto the other food, then you put yourself at risk for foodborne illness. So it's really make sure that you store your meats properly. If you are going to defrost, if you buy chicken and you're not going to use it in about 3 days, and the expiration date, the sell-by date, say is May 21st, and it's May 20th, and you don't think you're going to use it by the next day, then put it in the freezer. Once it's cooked, you can freeze it immediately, but once it's cooked and left in the refrigerator, it needs to be discarded within 3 days, and to freeze it after is not a really good idea. That's how you get yourself at risk. So this other thing we're going to be putting on the burger is a chipotle spicy hummus. That is something that you want to store in your refrigerator, where your refrigerator should be held in a temperature between 41 degrees or less. When you leave food out on the counter for 2 hours or more, it becomes at risk for falling into what we call the temperature danger zone. The temperature danger zone is anywhere in between 41 degrees and 141 degrees, which is why if you're going to have a cold dish, it's important that the temperature is below 41 degrees, so check the thermometer in your refrigerator. And then when you cook something, you want to use a thermometer to temp it to make sure that it's above 141 degrees, which we're going to actually temp the meat later, because depending on the type of meat you're working with and the type of protein, the temperature at its finished product is going to vary, and how you can tell the doneness and the safetiness for yourself. So when it comes to something like a hummus, or meat or eggs, anything outside of the refrigerator that's supposed to be refrigerated. After 2 hours, you're at risk. After 4 hours, you have to discard it, so you don't want to get sick. Lastly, you have your bread. This is whole wheat bread, which we're going to get into a little bit later about the nutritional components and the benefits of something like a whole grain sandwich thin. But that can be left at room temp, and that can be stored in as long as it's tightly sealed in a dry place. Because if it's not tightly sealed, then the air can get in onto the bread, and it's called oxidation, which starts to break down the bread, and that's how you get that moldy appearance. If there's mold on it, throw it out. You could cut around it, but the best motto when it comes to food safety is when in doubt, throw it out. So that's when you know with something like bread, it should be stored tightly. If you see any coloration, throw that out. When it comes to your vegetables, vegetables should be washed thoroughly, especially something like lettuce. If you see any brown coloration, you want to trim that off, and you want to make sure that you wash it and rinse it for at least 20 seconds. Now, a lot of people might use like the produce cleaners, or like don't use soap, don't use anything special, no special ingredients, just water, and that'll do the trick. So when it comes to produce, you want to wash it in water. And then same thing, we have your onions, your avocado. When picking an avocado, if it's nice and soft, that's when you know it's ready to get picked. But as you open it up, it starts to brown. So it's really important that if you're going to utilize it, you use it, you cut it, and you use it. But if you leave it out, it'll brown. So that is pretty much it when it comes to food safety. Now this is important because someone who is very inexperienced with cooking might not know these tactics. And without knowing these tactics, you could do all you want to eat healthy, but then if you get sick and ends up in the hospital, it's pretty much reverting any efforts that you made towards a healthy lifestyle. So the reason why I felt that this was necessary to go over is because I truly encourage people to cook from home. It's really beneficial in so many ways. You can control, and you're going to see when we cook with Max, control how much salt to put in your food, how much added butter, olive oil, the things that provide that flavor to the dish, but can also tend to put extra calories that you might not necessarily want in your dish. So I'm encouraging you to experiment at home, be creative, and allow yourself to experiment in the kitchen, but also use food safety techniques. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my wonderful friend and colleague, Max Bovin.